Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rockies Now. This is episode 100 and something already. I don't know specifically what number it is, but welcome to yet another fun discussion with me, Tom, and Sarah. Guys, how are we doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing nice. It's nice to see the Giants get their whooped by Team USA today. So, but then again, hopefully it's not. Hopefully if the Rockies lose, it's not by as many runs.
Now, they did that specifically to prepare for the beatdown that the Rockies are going to hand them tomorrow. So they just had to get that out of the way today while they were playing a much weaker opponent. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we got some fun stuff to talk about today. But thank you to everyone, like I said, who's listening. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on social media. You'll notice if you've been following us recently, we officially rebranded the page. Not Rockies Now, but the parent company. We are now Elevated Pulse Sports, so that's what you'll see here in the bottom as well. We're excited about that. So this is the very first episode of Rockies Now after the parent company rebrand, and I think a good way to kick this off would be with a very fun trivia question from our trivia man, Tom. Tom, what you got for us, man? This is how we're going to do icebreakers now going forward. You're going to have to give us something to stump us out of the gate.
Well, I'm not going to go not going to kick up the level of difficulty just yet. We're not going to dive right into the deep end of the pool. We'll start the shallow, walk our way out there. But real quick, before we get to that, I just want to mention with Team USA versus the Rockies tomorrow, Kyle Freeland is starting for the Colorado Rockies. Team USA's pitch starter is still to be determined. So we'll see how that one goes. Should be an entertaining one. Okay. Anyway, now to the icebreaker trivia. It's not going to be the Trivia Tuesday question. If you want to find out the answer to that, stick around, pay attention to the social media pages. I will post the answer to that following. You can still vote, so be sure you do it on Instagram or X. Now on to this. So before in our pre-show meeting, Chris and Sarah picked a single season as opposed to a career question, and we're going to go with pitching today. So your question is, which three pitchers are tied for the most single season shutouts in Rockies history? Again, what three pitchers are tied for the most shutouts in one season in Rockies history? Bonus points if you can also guess those three seasons for each of those pitchers.
They're tied?
Yes, correct. They're tied for the same number of shutouts in one season.
Oh, man, this is tough. Sarah, you got something for us?
It's three pitchers. Sorry, take your time. I know this is kind of a brain teaser. As I mentioned, also one of them is fairly easy. The other is middle, and the third one is kind of hard. You very likely will not get his name.
I would say Ubaldo probably for one of them.
That's a good guess.
Ubaldo is one of them. Can you guess the season? It's one of his best.
Was it 2010?
Yes, that is correct. 2010, Ubaldo Jimenez. So the number of shutouts he had was 2. There are 2 other pitchers in Rockies history who also had 2 shutouts.
So it's only 2.
Yes, there's 2 more. So you got one. 2010, Ubaldo Jimenez is one of them. He had 2 shutouts that year, including, of course, his no-hitter.
Herman?
Good guess, but no. He is on the list, but he's further down the list.
Okay.
Ooh, did Jeff Francis make it in there?
Another good guess, but he is also down in that further down the list. But no, not Jeff Francis. But good guess though. Very good guess.
Aaron Cook.
Another good guess. He is also on. He's on the list. He's on the list twice, but not for the league.
But not in the top. Of course, he would be.
Here's a hint for you. One of them is from the 2000s, so from 2001 to 2010. One of them is in there. The other one is in the 90s. That's your clue.
Oh, whew.
Wow.
So we're not going too far back.
I wasn't even alive when that guy
not going too far back. The Rockies are from the 90s.
The young team, so there's not a whole lot.
Wow.
Man.
I feel like I'd have a better shot with the 2000s guy.
I'll say with Jeff Francis and Aaron Cook, you are in the territory. He was in one of the rotations with them.
I wanted to say Josh Fogg, but no, probably not.
No, another good guess, but no.
Oh man,
Uncle Ted says Hampton.
That is a no.
Yeah, probably. That's quite the disaster. Yeah.
I would have been impressed if Mike Hampton was on this list, but he is not.
Dude, what the heck? This person must have been pretty good. So they
2
should
shutouts.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Do you want a hint for the next? Here's your hint for the next
Yeah.
one. Okay. One of them. I'm trying to see if I can get some here. One of them grew up in Mesquite, Texas, and he went to Baylor University.
Oh, that is not helpful.
That does not help.
Well, all right. Here's another one for you. He pitched 6 seasons with the Rockies.
6 seasons in that period of the early 2000s.
2001 to 2006. So you're looking in the early 2000s.
Oh, he didn't make the World Series team. Darn.
No, he did not.
Wow.
Uncle Ted gives you a clue as well. Rangers guy. That's another team he pitched for.
After the Rockies?
Yes. John Gray is no Uncle Ted.
Yeah,
It's not John Gray.
I knew Uncle Ted was thinking of John Gray. It's not John Gray.
It is a good guess because even though he was inconsistent, he had some good starts for the Rockies.
I don't know if Pedro Estacio was a reliever or a starter. That's just a name I know.
He is also on this list, but no, he is not tied for the lead.
Oh man, that's just a complete blank spot in Rockies history for me.
You give up for the second one,
Sarah?
I have no idea.
Okay, the second guy is Jason Jennings.
Oh my gosh, dude! No,
he had
There's
two.
Not a shot.
He had 2 shutouts in 2006.
Wow.
Now the other guy is
from the 90s.
From the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, brother.
Hagen?
He only pitched 3 seasons for the Rockies, though. 95, 96, and 97.
Oh, my goodness. See, like now, when I think of 90s Rockies, I think of the offense so much faster than I think of the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
The
I don't
Blake
think
Street
I couldn't name you a single starter from the 90s.
Okay, well that's part of the fun of the easy, and we're getting really
yeah, apparently so.
I'm trying to, like my mind. I'm over here trying to think of what pitchers I would have seen because I've been going to Coors Field since its inaugural year, but I was also 10 years old.
Well, like I said, again, this guy, he pitched for 3 seasons for the team, so it's understandable. In his final season with the Rockies, he pitched 191 innings, and he wasn't a big strikeout guy either. He was more of a ground ball pitcher. But you guys give up?
I do give up.
I have no idea.
It is Roger Bailey in 1997.
Could have been a dude I ran into at the gas station.
No shot.
Yeah,
I know. Well, that's the whole point of this. We're also educating everyone as well about this. We're increasing our knowledge of the fandom here. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean that is that we're going with that. Get to know the players better.
So just to repeat the question, the answer for the viewers and listeners, of course. So the question was, which 3 pitchers in Rockies history are tied for the most shutouts in a single season? It was 2 shutouts. The answers are 2010 Ubaldo Jimenez, 2006 Jason Jennings, and 1997 Roger Bailey. So each of those 3 men had 2 shutouts in pitched 2 full complete game shutouts in one season.
If you know Roger Bailey, please drop it in the comments section because we have no idea who that is.
Or if he's listening, hey, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, right. There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
But were they on the road or at home?
But then, of course, there are a lot of guys tied for 4th at 1, including names like Chad Bettis, Pedro Estacio, like you said. Aaron Cook is on there twice. Jeff Francis is on there twice. John Gray is also on there. So again, and even, of course, as Uncle Ted points out, Mike Hamden did pitch 1 shutout in his Rockies career. And Herman Marquez is on there as well tgo. So yeah, another one.
Nice.
But it is tough. So again, and next week, next episode, I'll make it a little. Maybe I'll go over to the hitting side, and I'll make it a little more fun.
Yeah, it'll be much easier for us common folk to be able to guess it. But hey, man, I mean, we have to be educated too. So that was a good question.
Well, even I didn't even know the answers. That's why, of course, I'm the guy who comes up with the trivia to make this fun, and also, like I said, I want to educate people as well.
Right. Beautiful. Look at Tom doing his thing. You'll have to see it. Okay. That was a great way to kick off the episode, my friend. Thank you for that.
Of course.
I guess we'll dive right on in the weekend games. And I guess by weekend, I mean the games that have been played since last Thursday's episode. So you had 4 in there because they had today off, I suppose. But real quickly, just it doesn't have to be super in depth, but what stood out to you from any of those 4 games that the Rockies played over the weekend? Obviously, they went 1-3, snapped their win streak, which was pretty solid. But interesting stuff happened in some of these games. Any takeaways that stand out?
Charlie Condon is still absolutely raking. Goody has joined the home run party. Beck is in on it. Mickey looking fantastic. Mickey and Karros back to back was pretty sweet. I don't know about anybody else, but with Zach Veen being the only player in all of MLB to hit a walk-off home run so far in spring training, having both of them, when he came up in the bottom of the 9th, I don't think I breathed for the entire at bat. But I mean, it was a little bit of a disappointing weekend after kind of riding that high through. But I mean, I still like what I'm seeing. Pitching is a little bit scary, but they're supposed to be working on things right now. That's what all this is for. So.
Well, I'll jump over to the other side of the coin here with Sarah talking about the offense. I'll talk about the pitching. I know some people are freaking out, especially in the game against the Royals. I'm just here, again, it's even though it's spring training, everybody just take the worry level down a few notches here, because when it comes to pitching, right, and of course, right now, pitchers are just trying to do a couple things. One, shake the rust off their arm, loosen up, build up stamina for the season, especially at the starters. And then they're also working on making sure their mechanics and their timing of the delivery is down, and also working on sequences and making sure to can be more consistent with their spots. They're not so inclinedly worried about how many runs they're giving up. So it's all about just going through the motions and preparing for the season. Because like we said, spring, you can win the air quotes spring training MVP, but that's not going to translate to success in the regular season. It's not about winning the spring training most valuable player or being the team with the best record in spring training. It's about preparing for the long season ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you could ask Zach Veen about that from 2025, right? Played really well in spring, didn't even make the club out of spring. So yeah, good point there. I think a few things stand out for me. Number one, what Uncle Ted said, TJ Rumfield, man, he's raking to start spring training. And that's actually a really good thing, because with Krim being hurt, with Johnston kind of being so, I guess, offensively, he's really kind of standing out and making a name for himself in a way I didn't even necessarily expect. If I had to pick an opening day first baseman right now, I think I'd pick TJ to slot right on in there. Also helps that he's a left-handed bat too. So he's taking good at bats. He's working walks, all these things you like to see out of a guy who's competing for an opening day spot. I think another thing that stands out to me offensively, I'll stick with the offense. How about Brett Sullivan? Guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is a guy who they brought in on a minor league contract. No one really kind of thought very much about it. We're like, yeah, Braxton's kind of just the sure thing backup catcher to start the season. But I mean, maybe you can make an argument, given that he bats left-handed, given that he's kind of an older guy, and given that he's a guy you could move off of if he's struggling really easily, and that he's not probably going to have much of a role regularly in 2026. He's kind of sneaking in there for me as that backup catcher over Braxton right now.
Performance definitely would speak to that a little bit. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, it does help to have that veteran there, but I just don't know really where I need to see more out of Braxton. I need to see him turn it on a little bit more. He just hasn't been what I think we expect of him yet.
And this would be a really easy decision for the Rockies to make, right? Like if Braxton struggles the rest of spring, it's like there's no competition for him in AAA. He would be the everyday AAA catcher. He gets his reps. He gets to work on things technically. And then if injuries happen, he gets called up. Or if Brett Sullivan is really not being productive, he gets called up and Brett gets outrighted or something like that, or DFA'd. So I think there's a really low risk, reasonable reward situation for maybe considering Brett there at that backup catcher spot. But that's really all that stood out to me. Those two things stood out to me from the weekend games. Anything else before we move on to our exciting pitchers preview?
I think it was also nice and encouraging to see Rumfield talking. Not is he crushing the ball, he's also making some nice plays, especially when it comes to picking the ball from throws in the infield. That's good to see as well.
Yeah, solid defense too, man. I mean, he really has everything that you need.
Plus he's tall. Plus he is tall. So
yeah,
tough,
for sure.
Be tough to throw stuff over his head.
I would love a Karros Rumfield corner infield situation on opening day. I'm just going to put that there. Food for thought. But
maybe we could bring in Brian Reynolds to give him some more tips about about stretching a little bit off the base or off with your foot still on the base to save a few more, because he was one of my favorite guys at doing that, especially going to his right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Anthony Rizzo. He was also good from the left side though. So
I love
but
Rizzo.
But he's going to be coaching. But he's coaching Team Italy. So
Sarah and her first baseman, man. There you go.
Rizzo and KB though in the Cubs heyday, that was like the most entertaining. They were so fun to watch. They had such great chemistry with each other, and they were so good. But
that's why they came up with the nickname Brizzo.
Mm-hmm.
That was on a billboard here in Chicago. They had Brian Rizzo and Brizzo across the billboard. That was on a billboard downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rockies equivalent of Brizzo would be Carefield.
That or Ramos, Rumrose, something like that. Now it sounds
like Scooby Doo.
Exactly,
Scooby-Doo. Oh, man, that's beautiful. I'm all for it, guys. Hey, look, I need to see it.
Let's see it.
Hey,
Rocky. Hey, Steven, our fearless leader, write that down as a potential post idea. We got to come up with this.
Note that 100%.
Hey, before we jump into the pitchers, let's talk about, I know he was nobody's favorite during his time with the Rockies, but the big news that dropped out of Atlanta today with Jerks and Profar's second PED suspension in as many seasons.
I was wondering if one of you is going to bring that up. I wasn't sure, but we can talk about it. I don't care.
We don't have to talk about it too much, but I know it was so it's been so funny to see, because I know his relationship with the fans in Colorado and his time in Colorado was not great. Somebody was like, he's 1/10 BWAR above Adele Amador from being a top 10 bottom Rocky all time.
Yeah.
And maybe he should have started juicing a year earlier than what he did. I don't know, but obviously he shouldn't have. That's a joke.
What was he doing when he was good before Colorado?
I mean, he could have been still doing. He just hadn't gotten caught yet.
Just hadn't got caught.
There's ways. I mean, I'm not trying to get into revealing too much, but there are ways you can circumvent drug tests. But then again, when I say that, I'm not saying anything a lot of people don't know. So
we're not letting you guys know what those ways are.
Oh, I can tell you a couple. This is not based on personal.
I was like, what do you guys want to know? Take notes.
This is not based on personal experience. This is what I know or what I've been told, what I've read, because I'm a junkie when it comes to watching documentaries and interviews and all that kind of stuff. So
did you watch that one? What was that called? Is it called Juiced?
Which one? On which service?
Was it on Netflix?
There was one about that went a little bit into the Balco scandal. Yeah, you talking about that one?
I don't remember. I think that was it.
There was one. There are ones that do go into. Well, there was the one where they went specifically into Lance Armstrong and they went in depth about behind him. That was on Prime for a little bit, but then there's also the one that went a little bit more into depth with the Balco scandal, which of course is what Barry Bonds, Jason
that's the one,
and Jose Canseco were of course clients, quote unquote. I say clients or customers, so I use air quotes.
Use that loosely.
No. We know they were involved. I mean, their names are on the paperwork that were submitted to the court system. So.
Yeah,
but some were not. Some were on there, but they couldn't put like Sheffield. He kind of was, a little loosely mentioned, but but whatever. But no, but to Profar, it's just, it just go. Or also remember, Max Kepler got busted this early in the offseason. Then go back to last offseason, Jose Alvarado. Even though there's more, even though there is strict testing policies for every single team, you can still get caught. So, and again, it doesn't go to show you that even the top guys like your Barry Bonds or your Mark McGuire's take them. Even guys who are just trying to make a roster or because, a lot of former athletes have told me, they'll do. It's about living your dream, and guys will do what they have to, even if it means just hanging around because you want to live that dream. So I get it. I'm not in for it. I'm always against PEDs in sports, but I mean, I understand what they're coming from. This is their livelihood. So they're going to, you would do crazy things to maintain a certain level of livelihood. So it's just a fact of life sometimes, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. And Ted says over here, I kind of get PEDs in a contract year, but after you've already signed. That's the part that blew my mind. Like, no, it's not excusable still, but popping positive when you're trying to get a deal, I could almost understand. But you've already got the deal and you did it again. Like,
you still got to
wake
perform.
up.
You still got to when you get the deal, you still have to perform and meet the expectations of that deal. So it's not like you can. Plus, when you stop, some of your physical measures drop off a little bit.
Yeah,
but
the players' union is going to appeal this on his behalf, but.
I haven't read the full details of the case, what evidence is presented against him. But if you do appeal, there's always a chance because again, it could have been a false positive. They may ask him to retest the sample. There's many different things that the players union can put forward to have the process do a reset, is what they call it. And by the way, Uncle Ted, it's actually spelled BALCO, not BALKO. Balco is BALCO. Just to correct you on that one.
Yeah,
that lab was in San Francisco, if anybody was wondering.
Wow. Interesting stuff.
I've seen several interviews with the former head of the lab. What was his name? He's like, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but either way, we don't need to get into that talk. We can talk about this one.
All right, so now that we've gone through the big news for today, let's talk about the pitchers.
Yeah, there you go. let's segue that on. Let's for it.
That was a beautiful segue. Thank you, Sarah. But I mean, I guess the takeaway from the whole PEDs thing with Jerks and Profar is if you see Tom show up to Rockies spring training next year and he's throwing 100 miles an hour, you already know why that is.
Well, I will say I do have some genetics to be a pitcher, but I still don't have the genetics of Aroldis Chapman, so I can't exactly just all of a sudden, There have to be some genetics involved with being able to throw triple digits, and I can guarantee you, I've tried. I don't have those genetics.
Go hit the gym with Zach Veen for a few months and see
that. Well, I don't want to get as big as he is because then I won't be able to stretch my arm all the way back. I won't be able to fully extend my arm back without hurting myself.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's incredible. All right, let's talk pitchers, guys. And all right, these next two segments are kind of tied together. All right, we're going to talk about the pitchers on the 40-man because they obviously have the highest likelihood of making the team out of spring training. But we're going to walk through briefly, hopefully, and succinctly walk through each of the 24 pitchers on the 40-man. And then at the end, we're going to give our predictions about which 13 of those 24 we think are going to be on the major league roster on opening day. So we can kick it off. Let's start with the starters. Let's just walk through in order of projected WAR. Why don't we? Fangraphs has projected WAR for every player going into every season. And so the highest projected WAR starter on the Colorado Rockies going into 2026 is our good buddy who gets to face Team USA tomorrow, Kyle Freeland. Guys, what do we think about Kyle?
Tom, you want to go first? You want me to go first? What do you want
to
do?
Sorry, sometimes I keep my mic off. Anyway, with Freeland, it's like I said, I think barring some certain circumstances, I've said before, he is going to be the open day starter just like last season. I have to double check. I wonder I think it's his fourth or fifth opening day start. Might be his sixth. I have to look at that again. But for him, you're looking he is, of course, at this moment, the longest tenure Rocky on the roster. It's no reason why it shouldn't be him. And you're looking for, hopefully he provides that stability and familiarity with this organization. And like I said earlier, it is nice to have three veterans behind him in Quintana, Sugano, and Lorenzen, but we'll get to them in a moment. But with Freeland, I'm just looking for that veteran consistency to eat up innings. Again, he's not a big strikeout pitcher. He's not going to be 2018 Kyle Freeland. I mean, if he did and he had a resurgence and all of a sudden, hey, late career resurgence, that'd be awesome. But I'm just looking for him to eat up innings and kind of, you could say, lead this rotation. And with some more depth behind him, I think it'll be a little easier for him to do that.
Yeah, those are good points. What do you think, Sarah?
I think the back spasms already going in. I mean, he has not started yet in spring training. He was scratched from his first start because of the back spasms. Hopefully, it sounds like that is under control right now. That would be the only thing I think could end up potentially derailing that opening day start would be if that is something that's causing him any lingering issues. I think we'll probably know more about that after he starts tomorrow. Um, but just I think as long as he stays healthy, I mean, of course, like Tom said, he is that solid veteran presence that has been here on this team this entire time. So um, obviously, he's a very valuable piece. Just got to keep him healthy.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, he's been here for so long, right? So it's kind of cool to see him start off a period of time in like the late 2010s where the Rockies were competitive for a little bit and then go through all the suck. And now, with all the changes going on, kind of feel like he's the guy in the middle of rejuvenating this team and reinvigorating a sort of sense that, hey guys, we can actually compete at some point in potentially the next few years if everything goes correctly. But I think for Kyle, it'll be interesting. They have him projected with having a 1.8 WAR in 2026. That's obviously a floor, but he had a 2.5 WAR last year, threw a lot of fastballs. So like 55%. And for a guy who doesn't really throw super hard, that's really something I think we'd like to see come down a little bit, especially since his best pitch is his breaking ball. His curveball's really good. And so hopefully he's working with Alone on some stuff to sort of reoptimize his arsenal, pitch shapes, whatever it might be, so that he can be better in 2026. But I mean, he doesn't walk people. That's a plus for Kyle. And so I think he'll be solid as this team's number one pitcher in 2026. I mean, if he had a 2.5 WAR last year, given how poorly he started the season and then really got better throughout the year, with some tweaks and adjustments, could we see him maybe being a 3 WAR pitcher in 2026 at best?
I don't think it's out of the question. I really don't. I mean, especially like as you pointed out, he doesn't rely on strikeouts. He is good when it comes to keeping the ball down. He's had his issues with that at Coors Field, but to your point, not only does he have a curveball, his changeup I think is underappreciated by a lot of people. When he has a good feel for it, he can use it low and away to lefties, and he can also come into it on right-handers. So I think so, especially I think we've talked about this year's defense is going to be a little bit better, especially in the infield. I think that will benefit him, not greatly, but benefit him to a considerable amount. And hot take, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if with you what you said, Chris, he can maybe put himself in the running as our All-Star representative if we only have one. It's not. I don't think it's out of the question. I really don't.
Yeah, good point. Good point. We'll see how it goes for Kyle, but it'll be interesting to see how he can sort of be the ace of this staff. Obviously, it's the last year of his deal. We'll see what left he's got in the tank, and maybe he earns himself a short-term deal to finish out his career if all goes well in 2026. But alrighty, on to our second pitcher. Our second pitcher, at least in terms of projected WAR in the starting rotation, is Jose Quintana. They have him projected with a 1.2 WAR in 2026. Last year with the Brewers, he was the sixth best starter in a playoff Milwaukee starting rotation. So, I mean, kind of mid 0.8 WAR. What do we think of Jose Quintana? I guess we'll just start with Tom again and then get to Sarah.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, another guy, again, even going back to his earlier days when he debuted with the White Sox, he's never been a power arm. I mean, I think the fastest fastball I've ever seen him throw was 93, maybe 94. If he reaches far back, maybe he can throw 95. But that's never been his MO. He is a guy who has been reliable when it comes to eating up innings. And as I said in previous episodes when we talk about him, that's what he does best, and that's what they're going to rely on, because whether you're a contending team or not, you want to not put so much stress on a bullpen. Okay, we had 3 bad starts in a row. We got to rely on our bullpen to eat up innings. He was brought here not just because he has a long tenured veteran, but he's come here to do what he does, and that is eat up innings. So to me, that's going to be one of the greatest the best value of his game that he offers. So because again, as we've talked about we'll get to the young relievers that we have. We don't want to, I personally don't want to put a lot of stress on them, especially as we're trying to break them in a good way to the big leagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Right. You never want to put yourself in that position. What do we think, Sarah?
I think I like what I've seen from him so far. Again, it's still, we're only like a week and a half into this, but, I think that these veteran guys that they've brought in are so important. Like Tom said, it's just so important that we take some of that bullpen got just beat to death last year. Like I don't know how any of those guys were standing by the end of the season. They just really got put through it, and so I think the pieces that they've brought in with Quintana, this is going to be great to take some of that, and hopefully, hopefully the pitch mixes these guys are bringing in, we'll see some success here at Coors Field. I think this is a really interesting approach that they're taking this time around.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. The emphasis on having guys who have diverse pitch mixes is an interesting one that I didn't necessarily see coming. Quintana throws 5 pitches. His best pitch is his curveball, actually. He's another guy kind of like Kyle Freeland, left-handed pitcher, doesn't throw hard and throws a fastball shape over 55% of the time. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets rebalanced in 2026 with the fact that they not only want guys who throw lots of pitches, but they also kind of want them to work in those pitches more regularly. In 2025, he wasn't really incredible in terms of advanced statistics. He was average-ish in terms of ground ball rate. That was his best overall contribution in terms of advanced quote unquote analytical considerations. But I mean, overall, he had a sub-4 ERA, and he was a pitcher in the starting rotation of the NLCS against the Dodgers last year. So he's a trustworthy pitcher, even though that start didn't necessarily go incredibly well for him. He's a guy that it will probably be a very welcome sight for Rockies fans who are just looking for some sort of stability. I don't think Quintana is going to be like a 5.5 ERA guy at Coors Field. He'll probably be a little bit higher, but I don't think he's going to utterly implode on himself. So, I mean, good thoughts about Quintana. Obviously, we've talked about him extensively before, but good to touch on him again. The third highest rated starter, projected starter in 2026 is Michael Lorenzen, another one of those free agent signings. His WAR is projected to be 1.1. Again, that's kind of a floor. What do we think about Michael Lorenzen? Sarah, this time? Let's start. We're going to reverse the order. I saw that.
Yeah. So, obviously, nobody liked what they saw the other day. But I defend Michael Lorenzen a lot because he was somebody that in fantasy last year for me was a really sneaky good pickup. And I don't think so I paid a lot more attention to him than I probably would have otherwise. But honestly, he has a lot of tools that really impressed me a lot. That was one of the reasons I would snag him here and there when I needed to fill a spot. But he always did really good for me. Obviously, spring break, he's working some things out. I know he's really excited about being here and about the challenge of trying to conquer Coors Field. He wants to bring the Vest jerseys back. I'm here for it. Let's go. No, really, I think he's another one. I don't think what we saw this weekend is going to be something that's very typical from him. I think he's going to be ace type pitcher? No, we were talking about Coors Field. I don't think anybody is going to be, but I think he's a piece that'll work well here.
Yeah, that was a tough start to watch this weekend.
God, it was ugly.
You're not going to come out and pitch a shutout every time. That's just the unfortunate fact of sports and being a pitcher. No, well, Sarah hit the nail on the head, but I think to add to what she said, I agree. The thing I like Lorenzen mostly is he's very even keel with distributing how often he throws each pitch between fastball, sinker, changeup, slider, and of course mixing the curveball at least. But I'm excited. Chris, you and I have talked about in previous episodes about what pitches work best at Coors Field. I'm very intrigued to watch him throw his sinker at Coors Field. I want to see how keeping it down, induce ground balls, get a swing and miss every so often. I am really interested to see how that in combination with his sinker, his changeup and slider, I want to see those 3 pitches from him specifically, how they work against attacking, even not just at Coors Field, but also on the road, because, you still got to pitch on the road. But the last thing I'll say, the encouraging, per his Baseball Savant page, he ranked in the 76th percentile in walk rate last year. So again, it's encouraging. Keep traffic off the bases and make things a little easier on himself and the defense. So again, I think it's a good addition. And he is one, and of course he is a former All-Star just like Quintana. So they both bring that to the table, even though he was more recently, Quintana was back in 2016. Still, you got 2 former All-Star pitchers joining the staff.
And Sorry, one last thing about Lorenzen. He's got a sneaky bat on him too. Could be a potential for a pinch hit situation if needed.
In the 12th inning of a game.
Yeah, if he's needed, he might be. I saw him. They were showing him taking some swings the other day.
Right. You're right. He was out there getting his hacks in. He still got it in there.
We do have the Ohtani rule, so
it's true. This is one thing that we like Shohei Ohtani for as Colorado Rockies fans in a division that he plays in. So yeah, we'll see if that gets put
we got our own Mile High Ohtani coming in.
Mile. You know, anything is possible. Yeah,
but still, even after that, but neither of them will still be better than well, in terms of pitcher. I mean, obviously, Giants fans are going to come out and say, "Are you never going to beat Madison Bumgarner?"
This is true. This is true, man.
Yeah, Ohtani's in a different atmosphere.
Completely, that guy, absolutely incredible. But I mean, I do like the point about the fact that Lorenzen and Quintana both are guys who not only have postseason experience, but who also have been all-stars. And that's kind of the underrated aspect of signing guys like this. They're not necessarily just coming here to be good pitchers. They're coming here also to bring that breadth and depth of knowledge to our younger guys who will probably have to take the reins a lot more in 2027 and especially beyond that. So super helpful to bring a guy like Mike in. I'm with you also there, Tom. I think the changeup will be very interesting to watch. That's a great Coors Field pitch. People say that time and time again. You really want to have a good changeup, and it is his best pitch. And so aside from the walk rate that you mentioned, him not walking people really, he doesn't give up a ton of hard hits. Now, the hard hits he does give up are hit pretty hard. Okay, so he gives up a lot of barrels, but I mean, as we saw this weekend. But at a minimum, it's good to see that he limits hard hits, and so that's definitely something that the Rockies have needed. I'm excited to see how he performs going forward this regular season. But I guess we'll move on to. I wanted to move on to Tomo next, but actually Tomo's not fourth in terms of projected WAR in the Rockies 2026 rotation. The fourth starter on this list with a 1 WAR projection in 2026 is actually Ryan Feltner. Surprisingly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what do we think about Ryan here, guys? He's obviously on the border here, competing for that 5th starter spot. I personally don't think he'll make it. I think I currently give the edge to Tanner Gordon, quite honestly. But what do you think of Ryan's chances here, assuming he'll get into the rotation at some point in 2026?
I agree with you. I'm a little shocked. I thought he was going to be, if anything, 0.5 WAR. That would have been my guess. I hadn't looked at what the Fangraphs projections that Chris is looking at. Feltner, he was a couple years ago. He was just such a kind of. He wasn't like a incredibly pleasant surprise, but he was a stable part of the rotation. I think he had 29 consecutive starts without having an ERA or skip a start, which was encouraging. But he, again, complete issue last year. He was in and out of the rotation last year. I think he still has stuff to work on. So I think if anything, he could be a depth piece in terms of whether somebody's injured or they need somebody to come up, make a spot start, or he's like the extra guy for a double header, or the extra pitcher for a double header. But I don't think we've seen the last of him. I think if anything, he's going to be in Albuquerque getting every day or every 5th day starts. But I'll reiterate the point. I don't think we've seen the last of him. There's still a future for him in somewhere, if not with the Rockies, somewhere in the big leagues.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely has some good stuff and good potential. What do we think, Sarah? Ryan Feltner.
I kept a pretty close eye on him in Albuquerque once when he came back from that injury, and it was not pretty, really. He could kind of figure it out here and there. It would seem like it just seemed like he could not get it to consistently work, whatever was going on. He was really getting beat up quite a bit when he came back. I think I kind of have to agree with Tom here. I don't see him being up with the club on opening day. I do feel like he's going to be in Albuquerque. I think they're going to want to see if whatever he's been working on in spring training in the off season can carry through, if he can get some consistency out of it. Because that was really, you'd start to see something good from him last year, and then it would fall apart, and then he'd start to kind of put it together again, and it would fall apart again. I think they want to see some consistency before we're going to see him back at Coors Field.
I mean, 2 years ago, just real quick point, and yeah, I looked it up. 2024, he had 162 in the third innings, and he in 30 starts. So he has the ability to really eat up innings. Even at the time, he had just over before that he had just over 100 innings of major league experience. So there is something there. I just right now, given what we've added to this rotation, there just may not be a spot for him. He's one of those odd ones out.
Yeah, he really is, and it's kind of interesting because even referencing back to his 2024 season, he had some promising numbers show up even in the advanced analytics, okay, particularly with balls in play, okay, 74th percentile in barrel rate and 67th percentile in hard hit. So he wasn't really giving up a ton of solid contact. His main issue was that he was close to average in terms of walks. So the walks had always kind of been his issue. He doesn't really get much swing and miss. And so if he can figure out a way to improve that this offseason, I don't know if he's one of the guys who's adding like 10 new pitches to their repertoire this year, but we'll see how he can manage to up that and improve it. Because, I mean, he's got slightly above average velocity. He's got a good forcing fastball. It's actually his best pitch. And so, I mean, that's obviously not the shape you want to have as your best fastball in Colorado, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I agree. Like I said, I think he'll probably start at AAA, but he's solid depth for sure, especially if he's working on stuff with a little bit lower stress at the AAA level. All right, we'll get on to number 5. Number 5 starter is the aforementioned Tanner Gordon. I think I like him most to be the 5th starter right now. We'll get into that in a little bit, but he's projected to have a .9 WAR in 2026. Thoughts on Tanner Gordon?
I think Tanner Gordon is great. Really, like, I mean, what do you say? I feel like he's really made his case for that 5th spot. Even, I mean, I know we were all saying it was Chase was the 5th spot. Chase was the 5th spot. I don't know. Like, I think Tanner really has. I mean, Tanner has really earned it. I mean, I guess we'll see. Is there somebody else to bump off there? But I have nothing bad to say about Tanner Gordon at all. I think he deserves to be where he's at, and absolutely will be a great piece of this rotation going forward.
Well, he's a Midwest guy. He's from the state of Indiana, so I'm just one little fact to bring up. I agree. I mean, do we think it could be just a coin flip? Heads is Tanner Gordon, tails is Chase Dollander. Just flip the coin. Because I know everyone's, again, with Chase Dollander having the pedigree of being a former first-round pick out of Tennessee, no less, people think he has the higher hand on the bat for the bat knob to get picked. But maybe it could come down to the final week and the final decision of what the coaches want to do. But whichever one doesn't win it is going down to Albuquerque to be part of the rotation. And I agree. It very likely could be Tanner Gordon. I think he has, if you want me to give odds, maybe it's 55-45 that it's Tanner Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 1 week in, right? So we do have to consider that there are several weeks left. Guys can get hurt. Guys can kind of lose their momentum, maybe just lose some feel, whatever it might be. But yeah, I like Tanner Gordon as the guy here. I like his repertoire. I think I heard him say that he is working on a cutter and a sinker. So he's trying to get some more fastball shapes in there. Obviously, that's a good thing. His best pitch is his four-seam fastball, believe it or not. It did not really generate very much whiff, did not get strikeouts last year. But what does Warren say that they're looking for this season out of their pitchers? Not walking guys. And he was in the 93rd percentile in walk rate. And so you want a guy who's not going to give up free base runners. Tanner Gordon is your guy. And so I think he really does fit what they're looking for in a starting rotation in terms of quality starts. They had a decent number of quality starts for a guy in 2025 who didn't even really get a full season. He was up and down like 3 separate times, it felt like, in 2025. And so a full season of Tanner Gordon, I mean, I would not complain about that, especially if he can work on continuing to limit that hard contact and get more balls on the ground. I think he'd be a solid little 5th starter for this team this year. We'll move on to Tomo Sugano, and then I guess we'll touch on the last 3 prospect pitchers at the same time, kind of mix and match there. But what do we think of Tomo? He's projected to have a .8 WAR in 2026. He was an all-star in Japan, had years in the Japanese Professional Baseball League, comes over here, has a rough rookie season last year, but I mean, first season facing the best hitters in the world. What do we like about Tomo Sugano? Is there anything we're concerned about with Tomo?
The only thing I'm excited for when it comes to Tomo is his best pitch is a split finger fastball. And to quote the great Alex Rodriguez that he said live on the air on Fox about a decade ago, it is the most difficult pitch. It was the pitch that gave him the most trouble during his playing career because it just looks like a fastball and it just dips out of nowhere if thrown properly. I just want to see how that pitch specifically from him translates to at Coors Field. Again, it's a pitch relied on to stay down. If you leave it up, it can get crushed. So specifically, I can't remember the last time I think I can't remember his first name, but Stevenson. I can't remember his first name. He was the one of our relievers. Robert Stevenson. He had a pretty good split. He had a pretty good splitter. So again, now that we have a guy who relies on the splitter so much, I'm interested to see how combined with his sweeper and his four-seam fastball, how that works for him. I think it's a good, again, even though it's low on the WAR chart for our pitchers, I still think he's a good addition. So we'll see how it goes for him. Because again, Japanese pitchers, they can have success over here in the big leagues, as we've seen from certain pitchers in recent years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only no hitter at Coors Field thrown by a Japanese pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
So got some pedigree there. What do we think, Sarah?
I would have to agree with Tom. I mean, yeah, he did get slammed a little bit last year coming over, but some of these other guys, there's a little bit of an adjustment period. I am a little bit concerned about him trying to make that adjustment at Coors Field, but seeing how he settles in this season, he's one I'm trying to stay very, very open-minded about because you just never know. Different coaching staff, different influence here, trying to see what he can do with that pitch mix. Again, that has been like the statement that they've made is we want pitchers that have a lot of options. So I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on him yet, but just kind of keeping an open mind and seeing what's going to happen there. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but
super excited. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I am definitely also keeping a very open mind about Tomo. I mean, here's the thing. You got to think about this. 2025, he gave up the third most home runs in the entire league and the most in the AL of all pitchers, right? But if you dig into that a little bit more, you see of the 33 he gave up, 24 of them were only solo shots. And so solo shots don't kill you. It's literally the safest way to give up a run. So, I mean, that's really where it helps him is the fact that he doesn't, much like Tanner Gordon, he doesn't put people on base freely.
Yeah.
Second percentile and walk rate. And so he does have a nasty splitter. That is a good Coors Field pitch. So I'm super excited to see what he can do with that here as well. Kind of limits hard hits too. So there's a likelihood that if he takes the knowledge he got from last season with the Orioles and turns it into a more productive year with Colorado, he could be a very solid fourth starter in this rotation. For a team that just, again, needs some solidity out of this starting rotation. He just needs to give us 5-6 innings a night, 3, maybe 4 runs. That should be good enough to keep us in ball games during his starts this season. So I think he's a guy who can do it. He's got a good pitch mix, got a lot of pitches. I'm super excited about Tomo. We'll see what he can bring. Now we're down to the last 3 starters. All right, let's do this. Of these 3, which are you most excited about? And then explain why that is. Okay, so the last 3 are Chase Dollander, McCade Brown, and Gabriel Hughes. Chase has a projected 0.8 WAR. McCade has a projected 0.3 WAR, believe it or not. And Gabriel Hughes has a projected 0 WAR, hasn't made the majors yet. So really no data on him at the big league level. So you can't really make a projection. What do we think, guys? Dollander, Brown, or Hughes? It might seem obvious, but I mean,
is McCade? He's hurt right now, right? McCade Brown's hurt.
Yeah, he's dealing with an injury. Yeah, he hasn't been able to pitch yet. But
I will be 100% honest. I love Chase is my Tennessee boy. I love my Tennessee guys. I'm a volunteer for life, but I really liked. I mean, he couldn't string together a lot of innings, but I really liked some of what I saw from McCade Brown last year. So that was one I was really, really excited for with the injury, I think that kind of probably takes him out of that opening day running for right now. Maybe we see him a little bit later in the season, but or once he gets healthy, we see how that fifth spot is looking. If Chase is still struggling, if something's going on there. Um, I mean, right now, I think the most logical one you've got to go with is Chase. But
Yeah,
McCade Brown was one I was really, really excited for, and I do like what I've seen from Gabriel Hughes too, though.
this is true. Yeah,
I
I
think.
mean, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
No, I was just going to agree, and then I was going to flip it over to you. But what do you think, Tom?
No, I think Gabriel Hughes, I think, has the most flexibility. I think the path for both Gordon and Dolander has been solidified as to be, or sorry, McCabe, excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm going over there. I think is to be starters, but people have been talking about Gabriel Hughes could be a swingman as far as being like that Swiss Army knife who can pitch out of multiple innings as a reliever if need be necessary. So he's, again, I'm not saying that his future hasn't been determined. I think they have a pretty good idea what they're going to expect from him. But I like Gabriel. Call me crazy. I like Gabriel Hughes the most because I think he presents the versatility as being a multi-inning reliever, and he can be a starter to pitch that every fifth day. Again, I could be wrong, but I really like Gabriel Hughes because I just think there's a little bit more to offer there in terms of flexibility as a pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, if this was 2023, I would have been right there with you, because I mean, I was super hype after that one start he had against the Dodgers in spring training that one year, just that spot start. And I was like, wow, I didn't know he had this in him, Then he had the injury and his velo is now down like 3 miles an hour from where it was when we drafted him. And so I think he's got an interesting mix. His best pitch is his curveball, just by the way. He was okay in AAA last year. He was about average in walks and didn't really give up a ton of hard hits. So he's got that working for him. But I mean, I'd like to see him this year for sure. It's about that time where we do need to see what Gabriel Hughes can produce at the big league level. Overall, I think between Chase, McCade, and Gabe, we're looking at 3 guys who are likely to be in the 2027, 2028 rotation for this team. And so I think we'll get a look at them this year for sure. I'm kind of with Sarah, though. McCade is kind of interesting. And Tom also mentions this in the comments as well. McCade did look great at the end of last year. Just needs to work on his control. The one thing that plagues all these young pitchers, you get promoted to the big leagues and it's an awe-striking experience. And you're just feeling like you need to do a little bit more than you actually have to. And so it's unfortunate that that's the case, but he's a good-looking dude on the mound. He's huge. Got a good pitch mix.
Yeah, big guy.
Huge. Yeah. And I mean, he's got some solid middle of the rotation potential. Got some pretty decent velo. He had that one great start against the Mariners last year too. 10 Ks in like 5 innings. So, I mean, he's flashed solid potential. But I mean, of the 3 who I think I'm ultimately most excited for, it's got to be Chase. I'm going to take the easy route on this one. It's got to be Chase. I can't have the Rockies ever had a starting pitcher in franchise history who throws consistent 100 mile an hour, 99, 100. I can't think of one.
Nobody comes to mind just like right off the top of my head.
No, I think historically we've been more of a team that finds those pitch to contact guys for obvious reasons. But to finally have a guy like Chase who could potentially get you some strikeouts, he's got a good curveball, like a major league ready curveball. He just needs to work on his control too. It's really just an issue for all these young guys. It's just being able to throw pitches in the zone regularly and not overly rely on one pitch. Chase threw a fastball shape 71% of the time last year with very little success. So if he rebalances some of that in 2026 when he gets his opportunities, this is a great start for him to potentially cement himself as the ace of this team as soon as 2027, when we'll have presumably at least 4 new rotation spots open, assuming we don't find any of the veterans back. So I'm excited for Chase and to see if he can take advantage of that opportunity that he's got. But all right, those are the starters currently on the 40-man roster. Now we get to move to the bullpen. All right, few interesting names in the bullpen. I think we can refrain from talking about Pearson Ole and Jeff Criswell today. Both of them are on the IL. Obviously, Pearson tore his UCL, I think, last week. And so he'll be out for the year, which is really unfortunate. I liked his stuff a lot. Jeff Criswell coming back from Tommy John surgery. Maybe we'll see him later in the year. He had a solid debut in 2024 out of the bullpen. But, I mean, we'll refrain from talking about them tonight in any decent amount of depth. Let's start with Jimmy Herget, though. What do we think of Jimmy Herget? He's projected to have a .6 WAR in 2026. He was the best reliever on this team, surprisingly, in 2025. No one expected that, I don't think. Guys, can Jimmy do it again in 2026?
I know that when it comes to relievers, there is expected decline sometimes after a pitcher has such a great season, because relievers can be up and down a lot because it's a different routine when you're a starter. You're going every fifth day, where the reliever, unless you've been worked for the last couple of games or used in 3 of the last 4 games that your team has played, you're likely not going to pitch. But on a day where you're well rested, you could get up and get down, start loosening, or you may not pitch at all. So it's a crazy way of preparing for games, or just sitting out there waiting for the phone to ring and wondering if it's going to be you to get up and start throwing. So slight regression is understandable. I still think he's going to be probably one of our best weapons out of the pen. No, I just think can be very reliable.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, hard to argue with that perspective. Sarah, something similar? Anything different?
Jimmy was an absolute dog for us last year, man. I don't see that changing. I don't. Like, I'll keep it short. I don't see that changing. Jimmy was a dog, and I think he's going to continue to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Interesting note about Jimmy. Succeeded last year as a pitcher, pitching at Coors Field with 59% breaking ball usage. Yeah, how about that? So that's kind of interesting. His best pitch is his curveball. It's a 3,000 RPM curveball, by the way. That's insane. That's a ton of spin. But it worked for him just based on the shape of that pitch. And so based on the fact also that he's the human glitch, I mean, his motion is kind of funky. His velo differential is really solid. 15, right, between his fastball and his curveball, or whatever that slow breaking pitch is that he also throws. Maybe it's a sweeper. Solid reliever. And so I think there's good reason to believe he'll be the same guy, same type of guy in 2026. Solid late inning guy, which is really all we need him to be. Moving on, Victor Vodnik is the second highest projected Rockies WAR reliever in 2026. 0.4. What do you think of the supervillain, V squared?
I think he's going to be the closer. That's it. My point for him, he's my guy, straight some of the point. I think he's going to be the closer. I think this is going to be a really good year for him.
Okay. Despite the struggle early in spring a little bit, he'll earn it. I'm right there with you, I think. What do you think, Sarah?
Same thing. I was about to say the exact same thing as Tom. I think he's going to be the closer.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm right there with you. Like I just said, he's got a good changeup. That's his best pitch. Solid velocity, gets the ball on the ground, and he gets an average amount of whiff and strikeout too. So all things you like in a closer type of pitcher. And so, yeah, I think it'd be nice to have Victor start the year off as the closer for this team. The third highest rated reliever, Juan Mejia, 0.3 WAR. Okay. What do we think of Juan? 2-pitch pitcher, 4-seam slider. What do we think of him?
Warren loved to go to Juan last year. I don't think that'll change. I think what we're going to see out of this bullpen, and we're probably going to find ourselves just saying, yeah, they were great last year in that role. I think they're going to continue in that role. I think a lot of this portion of the podcast is going to sound like that, but he was a guy that Warren loved to lean on, and he delivered pretty consistently. I don't think we're going to see much different out of him there, other than maybe some more improvement. He was great.
Solid.
Not as high on a guy who can only throw 2 pitches. Again, that means he can throw them very, very well. The fewer pitches you have, you tend to be more specialized, but I wish he would develop a 3rd pitch. But yeah, he is going to be one of those mid-relief options that Warren is going to look towards, maybe in a tight jam or for high leverage, or that bridge from starter to closer. Again, we'll see. So like I said, I like a little bit more versatility, but it doesn't mean you're going to be useless, so to speak, so we'll see. He's going to be a mid-relief option for us this year. And, I hope he can deliver for us when we need him to.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, I mean, Charlie, our good buddy
Charlie disagrees.
Charlie disagrees. Oh man,
straight thumbs down.
Hey, but you know, here's an interesting thing, Charlie, that you might want to consider. If I had told you that the best strikeout pitcher on the entire Colorado Rockies staff last year was Juan Mejia, would you have believed me? Because he was 76th percentile and strikeout 85th percentile in whiff. And so there's a reason, like I think it was Sarah, did you say it? Like Warren loved going to him last year in late innings because of the fact that he's the best strikeout pitcher on this team. So, I mean, if he can continue that, even with his 2 pitches, I mean, he'll be hard to hit against for any team, quite honestly, that we face. And so you love to see it. You really do love to see Juan's potential. Also limited hard hit and barrel. So high potential late inning guy when we want to use him that way. Brendan Bernardino, number 4.
Charlie says respectfully.
Yeah, see, that's just because you didn't know how good one was. I see what you're doing here, Charlie. I see. All jokes, but yeah. We'll move on to the 3 guys who are tied with .1 WAR projection, and that'll be Brennan Bernardino, Seth Halverson, and Carson Palmquist. We've talked about him a little bit over the last few weeks. Guys, of these 3, obviously we have 2 lefties, and then we have another closer candidate. Who here excites you the most between these 3 in 2026?
I would say Halverson because I see the potential, but Bernardino is a second because he has more than, I guess, he has considerable major league experience. Because the one thing, just refresh my memory, the last 3 seasons for Boston, he's thrown over 50 innings for them out of their bullpen. So again, I bring up, when you have a veteran who is that consistent with delivering on eating up innings out of the pen, you're going to need that, whether you're in the lead, we have a big, close lead, big league, or you're just losing. So again, Halverson based on potential, but Bernardino, given the fact that this front office has gone out and added someone who can be a veteran that, again, to bring up Sarah's point, Warren is probably going to lean on a little bit here in certain situations during games.
Yeah, I mean, he was the 6th best reliever on a playoff Boston team in their bullpen. So, I mean, nothing to scoff at there. What else do we think, Sarah?
Halverson has so much gas, but he's one that I'm excited about, but he also terrifies me because when he gets wild with that ball. And so he's one that he's always fun to watch. You just never know whether you're going to get Halverson nails or whether you're going to get Halverson wild. And so that part scares me a little bit. But I agree with Tom, though. I like that we've got another veteran presence in there because if you think about what we've been talking about so far, very young bullpen. So I think that having Bernardino in there to bring that veteran presence is a great fit. I mean, the bullpen is not the part of this that I thought we would all be scared about during spring training, but after a week, it's been a little iffy. I think having that veteran there is going to be something that's essential. So I am really excited to see what Bernardino is going to do. And I noticed Tom didn't really say anything about Carson Palmquist at all. I don't really have anything to say about him either.
Well, I mean, I personally think he's got more to work on. Again, it's enough. I think it's great that because unlike a lot of the guys we talked about, either going back to Freeland, he's a lefty. So it's nice I don't think, because we're talking about bullpen, I see Carson Palmquist long-term as a starter, and the only place he's going to get starts is in Albuquerque. So I don't know. That's just, again, my personal opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe he could become that hard-throwing lefty that you can rely on as a middle reliever out of the pen. But again, not that I don't care. I'm not paying attention to him, but he's just not the first person that comes to mind when it comes to somebody I want coming out of the pen just yet.
Palmquist, yeah, I mean, I like this comment. Tom has made his perspective clear, and so has Tom in the comments. Flip a coin and pray with
I think we've now started a thing here where I think we need to get Warren Schaefer a coin like Two-Face. Heads do this, tails do not, and just like that's the ultimate decision maker is the coin. It's like that's whether you.
I think I'm gonna sit at home with a coin, and every time Warren's got a decision to make, I'm gonna flip it and see how often I can guess what he's gonna do.
Are you gonna send us text messages to our group chat saying, "Hey guys, it came up tails. This is what's gonna happen."
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We'll test it out a little bit first.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
We'll see.
We'll do it in the final couple weeks of spring training, Sarah. We'll talk about that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, all right. So I mean, clearly the comments has made their sentiment on the bullpen pretty clear. I'll give 3 reasons, a few for each of these 3 before we move on as to why you should be optimistic about each of these 3. Okay. Bernardino, veteran experience, really good reliever for a playoff Boston team last year, 85th percentile in hard hit and 84th percentile in ground ball. You love to see that out of the bullpen for Colorado. Halverson, big velo, and his best pitch is a splitter. And I mean, that gives him some good velocity differential. Also, surprisingly good at getting the ball on the ground when he gets the ball near the strike zone. So if he can work on that control, just like all the young pitchers, man, that's a solid arm out of the back end of your bullpen. And then Carson Palmquist. Look, Carson, I'm going to have to disagree with our Tom here for a second. Just based on what MLB has said for years, that they always projected Palmquist to end up being a sort of long relief guy at the major league level. And I mean, you can understand why that is, right? He's a soft thrower, he's good in short spurts. You even saw that last year, but once the innings start to pile up, he just kind of gets meh. But I mean, he's got a maximum velo differential with his pitches of 16 miles an hour. Like, that's solid. Okay. Low 90s fastball, low 70s breaking ball. I mean, I would want 2 innings out of Carson Palmquist if you needed a lefty long reliever. No. And so that, I think, is a good reason to have some optimism about Carson as well. So I'm kind of high on those 3, but yeah, I think this 0.1 is a good floor for them all to have. Now we'll move into the 0 WAR relievers. All right, this is interesting because there are some. Our first one on the list is Antonio Senzatella.
I was going to say, where's Senza at on this list? Why haven't we talked about him yet?
That is where Senza shows up.
Yeah. I'm most surprised he's above the break-even point here.
I know, isn't that crazy? Well, he had a negative 0.1 WAR last year, so they're like, we'll be nice.
I suppose, just because this is not a contract. 10. Is this a contract year for him, or is it not? Oh, yeah. So they think he's going to be a little extra motivated to earn another contract.
Yep. It's a contract year for Senza. I'm super excited about his sinker. What else do we think about Senza that could potentially give him a little bit more of a leg up in 2026 compared to 2025?
I just think, again, veteran presence. It's another guy who doesn't rely on strikeouts. You're looking, again, like we talked about, young arms. If he pitches at the break-even point, as you said, Chris, I think you got something there. I'm not saying you got an all-star pitcher there, but you got something that maybe can give you some bit of help out of your bullpen. But going into this, it's not like they're expecting the world from him. They're not expecting him to be a leader. They're not expecting him to be even a fifth, competing for a 5th spot. I think he could just be that veteran guy that Warren could flip his coin and land on Antonio Senzatella as heads or tails. So, or as real quick, I want to point out, Tom, in the comments puts, we can bring the 8 ball into place here. Like, do I use Antonio Senzatella? Maybe. Or the outcome, or is it the outcome
check
is
back
not good?
Later.
Yeah, check back later.
Are you down by enough runs to do so?
So Tom, that's a good one. Tom in the comments, not this Tom. But anyway, so yeah, Senzatella, again, contract year. I think he has a team option, I believe. I'll check later, but it's just, again, veteran guy coming out of the pen. I think we'll see him make if I had to guess, I think mostly he'll be used for multi-inning appearances. I don't see him being a one-off kind of guy. Because, like I said, if a starter has a bad outing, he could be one of, if not the second option out of the pen to cover innings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is true. I mean, he's in his 30s now, and he's still like high velocity, 60th percentile in velo. His best pitch is his curveball. So, I mean, they clearly see something there. So hopefully, alone the shape doctor can get him right this spring.
Real quick, just a quick comment. Considering we're talking a lot about guys with big curveballs, I guess we weren't big players for Framber Valdez. It's surprising because he relied a lot on his curveball.
He did, yeah.
But
I think a lot of that is clubhouse presence.
True. Well, yeah, correct. I was more making a joke about the money that would have been owed to him.
Oh, yeah.
but Sarah, given we talked about it on a previous episode, you and I, given the young team, we don't want to bring a guy who's going to chew out Hunter Goodman or Braxton Fulford because of miscommunication.
I don't think that would be a good idea. Like, you got a clubhouse full of country boys, you go after Hunter Goodman like that. I don't think it's gonna go well. Like, it seems like we have a bunch of really nice guys, but I think that could get ugly.
You're gonna have you're gonna have a come at me, bro situation.
Exactly.
No, I will say on Senza though, he's made a couple of appearances so far. First one looked good right off the bat and then got shaky. Then his second appearance, he came in and looked great for 3 innings. Like, that's what they're wanting to see from him. So I don't, maybe it's that whole thing where it's a contract year and he's really trying to get that option picked up. But I don't know. I haven't really been, I don't know, what is the word I'm looking for? I haven't been super unhappy with what I've seen from him so far. I don't think it's been over, like, just, I haven't been wowed with it either, but I think I've been more pleasantly surprised than I would have expected to be.
He hasn't disappointed you yet.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's all you can ask for at this point. So yeah, fair enough. Okay, 2 guys here, interesting, because they're kind of both on the borderline in some people's minds making this bullpen. Jaden Hill and RJ Pettit. Okay, they're also in the 0 projected WAR range. Who are we more intrigued by here? I think there's some really nice tools. I think Jaden had a solid year last year that often gets underrated. What do we think? Jaden Hill, RJ Pettit?
Again, from what I've seen this spring, you could kind of flip a coin, but I don't know. Pettit's got a lot of stuff that I find very, very interesting, and he's so big. Like, he's 6'8". Like, that guy is a monster out there. There's some things about him that I really, really like, but again, like you said, Chris, Hill had a lot of impressive moments, and I don't know. I don't know with these two.
Interesting. Tom?
Well, given to piggyback off the size of RJ Pettit, that's kind of an Aaron Judge thing you got going. I think I may or may not have said it on a previous episode. Imagine Judge being up at the plate and Pettit being on the mound. You're looking at one big linebacker-ish type man facing off against another big linebacker-ish type man, and then we're not even talking about playing the sport of football. So,
what kind of extension does Pettit get off the mound?
It's it's not. He's only. I'm looking at Baseball Savant. Oh no, sorry. Jaden Hill is a low one. Pettit, I have no idea. I can look it up though.
Pettit is 68th in AAA in extension, so above average.
That's the polar opposite of Jaden Hill. He's in the 60th percentile.
Yeah.
No, but I reminded myself that Jaden Hill does have a sinker, and again, I've commented on how awesome his glove is. I like the glove with the Joker design on it. So he's got definitely some good custom equipment game going on. I mean, potential it's Pettit because he just came over here. Again, we have 2 guys coming over from the Yankees organization farm system who are just making noise. Rumfield we've already talked about. And now with Pettit, just on potential, yes, but Jaden Hill, he's just been he was reliable last year. And I know Warren's going to, again, lean on him a lot. So I'm excited for Jaden Hill to see if he can build on last year. But again, Pettit's just got so much potential based on stuff and his physical skill set so much that you can't ignore him.
I know that's the interesting thing, right? Because he's not made the MLB level yet. And if he doesn't make the team out of spring training, we have to offer him back to the Tigers. So he really does have to be on the 26-man roster to open the year unless you want to lose him. But
and thank you for correcting me. I forgot he came from the Tigers, not the Yankees. My apologies. Thank you for correcting me.
Oh, yeah, no worries. But I like Hill. Hill, I mean, there's just so much to like about a guy who throws that sinker, like you said, Tom, and that slider with good velocity differential. Also, this is a solid 6th, 7th inning dude. Same type of thing with RJ Pettit, guy with the solid. Here's actually the interesting thing. He almost threw his fastballs and his sliders at a 50-50 rate. So he used them pretty much interchangeably, which is good for keeping hitters off balance. And so a lot of potential with both of those young arms. They'll probably both get some decent action this year at some point. I think they'll both make the 26-man roster, but I guess we'll get to that in the last segment here. But just interesting stuff for both of them. Big velo guys with plus fastball, plus slider. The last three we'll touch on are the sort of prospect arms. All right, that's Wellington Herrera, Luis Peralta, and Zach Agnos. Wellington hasn't made the big leagues yet. Peralta has been at the big league level 2 years, and Agnos made his debut last year. Of these three, which are we the most high on?
Zach Agnos.
Okay.
I love his stuff, and he was nails right off the bat. I believe he's come out and said that after it was when he had that little situation, the family situation last year, his grandfather had passed, and I don't think he handled that well, which understandable, and that really kind of, I think, affected his mental game going forward. But when he first debuted last year, he was just lights out, and I loved everything I saw from him.
I thought Agnos, I was double checking. I thought Agnos was pitching in the WBC, but he's not. I thought he was, but I guess
it's Victor. They kind of look a little bit alike.
Well, Agnos has a better mustache game going on, so
yeah, his a little thicker mustache, but they similar appearance.
I was wondering if he's going to kind of do the curl up thing like the Italian look or something. Because he's got the full width of it to do it, so that'd be kind of so. Zach, if you're listening, there's a beard / mustache trick you can maybe give a shot. I mean I don't want to give up on Peralta just yet because he is valuable in that he can be a 3-inning plus guy for you to cover. But again, if we're going on potential, it's Agnos, but I'm not losing. Doesn't mean at all. This is a toss up for me because I'm not losing faith in Peralta at all. Because again, you don't want to undervalue the contributions of what could be a reliable left-hander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's quite the turnaround that Luis had, right? He had such an amazing debut in 2024. 2025, he was bad. Really got sent down to AAA and was even worse. So, but it looks like over the offseason, he figured out that it was a technical issue that he needed to work on. And with Alone now working with him closely in spring to fix that and some of the other stuff with his arsenal, I think he'll be a solid lefty reliever at some point in the future as well. I mean, he's got a solid velocity differential too, so he can keep hitters off balance. Decent velo, league average velo with the 4-seam fastball. There's a lot to like about that left-handed profile. Something similar with Wellington Herrera, although Wellington throws absolute gas. He has a similar issue to the other young pitchers, like we've mentioned time and time again. Just needs to get that control in order, but I like his motion. Another solid guy who could give you an inning or two in relief at some point. I think we might see him make his debut this year. If not, probably next year, assuming he's healthy. And then Agnos, I think I agree with that take that Sarah had. It really was after his grandfather passed away that his performance really started to dip because he came out super hot. Mm-hmm. And so bottom line, all three are exciting. But yeah, if I had to pick one that I'm most excited about, I think it's probably Agnos too, just based on what he's proven at the big league level. Got some good stuff. He throws darn hard too. So gets a decent amount of whiff, even though he doesn't get much strikeout, which, put those two together, right? Kind of interesting. But that guys, is the pitchers preview. We've walked through the starters. We've walked through the relievers. In closing, before we get to our predictions about who you think is going to be in the rotation and who you think is going to be in the bullpen, just what is your overall take on the pitching staff in 2026, if you had to summarize it? We'll start with Sarah.
Upgrade. I would say we've made some upgrades that were absolutely necessary. Of course, Herman is in San Diego and definitely appreciate what he did. But after he came back from injury, he just couldn't bring it back for us. So it's time to move on from that. But I like that we've added, I like the veteran presence that's been added here. I think these are guys, and I like that they're all excited about being here. It used to feel like you would hear about a guy coming to Colorado and it was like you almost hated to ask him how he felt about it because you just saw that they didn't look like they were that excited. These guys are all in here. They look super fired up to be here. I think that all these changes within the coaching staff and the front office have really opened up a lot more doors to bring in pitching arms here. So I like the upgrades that have been made so far. I know it's a lot of short-term deals to kind of see where these prospects are going, but um, I think it's exciting, really, would be the word that I would choose.
There is still uncertainty, but I'm gonna add the word exciting because I just like the difference in terms of the balance between veteran and young player, because you want stability you want more stability and more experience because you don't know. So it gives takes pressure off your young pitchers, because particularly in the last 2 years, with guys getting promoted from Dollander to Palmquist and down the line, it just seems, okay, we're going to throw you out there. We're expecting a lot of you. Now with guys like Lorenzen, Quintana, Sagano, to add to Freeland, it's like, okay, we're going to take care of the top. We're going to lead the way. You guys just do your thing right there and follow us through it. So it's not like the young pitchers are coming up or even young position players for that matter and saying, okay, you guys got to learn on the fly here, and at the same time try to act as leaders on the job. So I like the balance, and it does add a whole new element of excitement. I'm still a little reserved. I'm not saying we're going to the World Series, but it's nice to, I think, maybe compete for fourth place in the division possibly, because I'm not too high on the Padres.
Come on, Tom. Rocktober, let's go.
Oh, come on! I'll be the first. I'll be the first one. I will be the first one online to put myself in the waiting room to buy a shirt. And then I will post it on social media. I will do a video if it was winter here. I will do a video of me doing like a leaf snow angel I will get a pile of leaves during October and do a leaf snow angel if that happens. And we can post it to Rockies now.
You best believe, man. Comment if you want to see Tom do that. When the Rockies make the playoffs, might not be this year.
Yeah, Rocktober's got to happen. When Rocktober happens, I will do that.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Okay, here are my final thoughts on the overall pitching staff before we get to predictions. We kind of joke about this team being relatively uncompetitive. I mean, I said even a few weeks ago, this team is still going to be bad, even though they'll be closer to normal bad instead of atrocious, historically bad. But some interesting things pop out here. The worst starting rotation in the playoffs last year, in terms of WAR, statistically speaking, was Cleveland, actually, with a collective staff WAR of 7.1. Okay. The worst relief team in the playoffs last year was Cincinnati with a collective bullpen WAR of 1.6. So it is possible that if you want to make the playoffs, you can be weak in one of those two areas. All right. Now, Cincinnati had the second best starting staff in terms of WAR in 2025. So they compensated there. I guess something kind of similar for Cleveland. They had an incredible bullpen. So you got to offset. You have to have one of those be good. But the point is, the Rockies have a projected staff WAR with these 40-man guys in terms of starters of 7.9, and the bullpen has a projected WAR of 1.4. All the guys we just talked about. And so in terms of pitching, Rockies are actually kind of closer to becoming competitive again through the starting pitching route, theoretically, right? It's actually the offense where they're very far behind. A lot of these playoff teams have like 20, 25, 30 WAR position player groups, and the Rockies aren't anywhere close to that. But all that to say, it's very encouraging. And to this point that Tom kind of brings up here about the fact that it's kind of scary that the bullpen is kind of as poor as it is. Another thing we have to understand here, a lot of these guys are really, really young. Okay. Like Jaden Hill, Victor Vodnik, RJ Pettit hasn't even debuted yet. Luis Peralta's in year 3, kind of. Seth Halverson, year 2. Juan Mejia, year 2. Like, this is a really young bullpen. And so they're going to struggle in the first few years of their career. But this is more so an investment for 2027, 2028. Once these guys get some experience behind them, do we like the stuff? I think we do like the stuff. Have we seen some potential, at least from some of the guys? I think we've seen some potential. I think we saw potential with Jaden Hill, sub 3.5 ERA. Victor Vodnik, sub 3.5 ERA last year. Juan Mejia had an expected ERA of 2.98 last year. Obviously Herget as well. So there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about this team in the future, even though we might not be happy with the way spring has started. I think there's a good reason for us to be excited about not only this bullpen, but also some of the pitching prospects coming up as well, keeping hitters off balance with the velocity differentials, some of the pitch mixes that they have. There's reason for optimism for sure. It might not be this year, but 2027, 2028, those are the years where we'll truly know a lot more. So with that said, guys, we'll start with Sarah, then do Tom, then do me. Pick a starting rotation. Who do you think is going to be in the starting rotation 2026 opening day, and the bullpen members, all 8 of them. And that is how we will end this episode.
Okay, so we're doing 5-man rotation, 8 in the bullpen. Okay, no pressure. I'm not going to give you this in order. Kyle Freeland, obviously, Lorenzen, Sugano, Quintana. It's so hard.
You want to pick one of these guys for that 5th starter, a guy who mentioned already.
No, I know. My heart wants to say it's Tanner Gordon. My head says it will be Chase Dollander.
Fair enough. All right. I like that. Let's actually just go everyone through the rotation and then everyone through the bullpen. So Tom, who do you think the starters will be?
Freeland, Lorenzen, Quintana, Sugano. Actually, I'm gonna Sugano, but I think he's gonna be the 5th. I think they're gonna put him at the 5th spot, and then I think the 4th spot I'm gonna go with Tanner Gordon as the 4th spot.
Nice, solid. I'm gonna copy Tom's exact thing. Besides maybe the order, not sure about the order, but I also like Freeland, Lorenzen, Quintana, Sugano, and Tanner as the 5. Although I want Chase to do enough this spring to earn that 5th starter spot. Not necessarily sure he's going to do it. So nice. That's the rotation. Bullpen. A lot of options to pick from here. Some interesting ones. Tom does bring up the point, like we mentioned earlier in the comments section, Tom. We do have to have Pettit on the 26 man if we don't want to lose him.
So he does have to be 26 man, not just 40.
He does have to be on the 26 man roster. Otherwise, we have to offer him back to Detroit. So consider that.
Okay, well, obviously Pettit then. No, I really just, the stuff that I've seen from him so far has my curiosity piqued enough. I would really like to see him. I don't want to give him back to Detroit yet. I want to see more of what he can do. Jimmy Herget, Seth Halverson, Juan Mejia's got a spot in my head. Victor. So let's see. I'm at 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bernardino, Agnos. Who am I missing? Oh my God, Jaden Hill.
Ah, nice. Okay, solid. I like it. I could get behind that.
I'm going Vodnik, Halverson, Herget, Bernardino. I'm just doing for this 4. That's 4, and then Pettit, And then I'm also going to go Senzatella and Juan Mejia. I don't think Agnos makes the roster on opening day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I forgot about Senzatella. We're not gonna. He's not gonna get. He'll be there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Totally forgot about that guy.
You need that long. You need at least that one long reliever. I mean, so yeah. So yeah, go yeah. So there was that 8? Yeah, I think that was 8. I did 8.
That was 8. That's a high quality 8. Sarah, I wish that your bullpen was more likely to be the case, ideally. But yeah,
because I just don't want to lose Pettit. I just don't want to.
Yeah,
my brain just forgot Senzatella existed for a whole 45 seconds.
Only
as soon as Tom said him, I was like, oh yeah, he's got to be there.
Just one more. Remember, just one more year. Just one more year.
Yeah. Yep. That magic 8-ball pen.
Isn't unlikely an option? Isn't like unlikely also an option on the net? Maybe I'll buy a magic 8-ball just for the sake of.
We have one somewhere around here.
I think I'm gonna buy a magic 8-ball. I'm gonna put it over here on my shelf and just say, okay, maybe on episode magic 8-ball time.
Yep. That'll be a whole segment. Magic 8-ball with Tom for sure. Mm-hmm. I love that. All right, so yeah, here's my bullpen prediction. I think I'm gonna go Senzatella. I'm gonna go Pettit. I'm gonna go Bernardino, Herget, Jaden Hill, Juan Mejia, Seth Halverson, Victor Vodnik. Mm-hmm. Ideally, I would like to see Carson Palmquist in there somewhere, just as a lefty in long relief, but that's probably not going to happen. At least unless injuries happen.
I think if we were to put the first 3 guys in, if something happens, injury or just send down because of performance, I think we can definitely put Peralta and Palmquist in that top 3. In my opinion, I think we could agree on that one.
Yeah, they got to get some run at some point, Also, by the way, Palmquist moving fully to the stretch. I noticed that against the Guardians. That was interesting.
So he got rid of. I didn't know he got rid of the windup. I didn't know that.
Looks like he did. He only worked from the stretch on Sunday. Was that when we played the Guardians? Yeah, Sunday, right? So that was interesting. But yeah, ultimately, that is my prediction for the bullpen. Thank you guys for your predictions. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up today's episode of Rockies Now?
Enjoy the exhibition tomorrow before the WBC officially kicks off.
Yeah. Yep.
Freeland, keep the ball down. Keep the ball down.
The power of friendship will beat Team USA tomorrow. Let's go.
Oh boy.
I really do kind of hope we get to face Tarek Skubal tomorrow. That would be so much fun.
Did you guys see? They said he's only going to throw 55 pitches against Great Britain, and then he's going back to Tigers camp.
I didn't hear that. No.
I saw that
too. Today.
Yeah. Well, I think he make another comment how he was very mad that he only got one appearance before coming to Team USA camp. He was, I think,
I don't know, but he had said previously that he would likely only make one start for Team USA before rejoining Tigers camp, but now they've said they're going to cap him at 55 pitches in the pool play game against Great Britain, and then he will leave.
Do we think that's his decision or the Tigers' decision?
Tigers, for sure.
I'd say probably the Tigers.
I would agree.
After they were forced to pay him all that money.
when they made the stupid, I don't know who in the organization came up with the bright idea, and I mean bright in a negative sense, to submit $19 million in the arbitration case. Who in their right mind approved that? Because they knew they were going to, I mean, come on. It's Scott Boras representing him. They knew they were going to submit over $30 million bid. I mean, come on. Scott Boras is going to chase a record. Clearly, they do not know how that man operates.
They were like, let's just try this and see if we can get away with it.
And then Skubal walked in with his Cy Young plaques like, I don't think so.
Guys, maybe I have to remind you who exactly I am.
He not only walked in with his Cy Young plaques, he walked in also probably with the Conor McGregor strut, just walking in there or something like that. Just like, and then and because again, in an arbitration case, it's either one or the other. They don't find a middle ground to agree on. You pick one or the other offer. That's what the arbitrator does. So I don't. Again, if the father was still alive, this would not have happened. Because the Suns clearly have a different mode of operation when it comes to running the team, but that's a different discussion. So we do not want to send Pettit back to them.
Nope. Pettit stays. Pettit stays for sure. Yeah. Interesting. Well, guys, that was a very fun episode, catching up on some news with you, talking pitchers. Hopefully everyone else who watched enjoyed it as well. We thank you for your listenership. Thank you for your viewership. For those of you who do not know yet, we just created a Rockies fan group chat for Rockies Now. So if you guys want to talk with us in some capacity outside the podcast, just send us a DM. We'll get you all added in there and we can create maybe a really cool Rockies Now fan group chat. So like I said, DM us if you're interested in that. Obviously, I'm going to remind you again, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on social media. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff this year. It's a fun time to be a Colorado Rockies fan. Lots of change, lots of optimism for at least some of us. I am probably the top of the sum of us, but it'll be very exciting stuff indeed, guys. So thank you for listening. We will see you Thursday, probably, likely. Until then, have a great 2 days and go Rocks.